Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning?
Great. Fabulous.
I know I'm doing amazing. I went to sleep last night at 2 o'clock in the morning and I woke up at 4, so I am refreshed and I have lots of energy. Thank you for the woo.
Yeah.
I needed that woo woo.
Hey,
So if
do
you
it myself.
would, can you do me a favor?
Oh, that's right.
And pull out your cell phone. How's the man? How you doing? It's good to see you this morning. Pull out your cell phones and I want you to go to the app, 1 Million Cups app with me. It looks like this, or it looks like that there. Okay, what's going on with my app? And hopefully the same thing is not going on with yours. So it looks like this. What I need you to do is go in there and they got this button down here, this orange button. Check this orange button out. This is the cutest little orange button. Check it out. Press that button to check in so we know you're here. The reason for this is number one, this is how we get credit for you being here. Number two, if we have a snowstorm or something like that, we will be able to notify you that we're not going to be here, but you can come and do everything for us. All right, you guys are paying attention. That's
Shovel the snow.
Yeah.
But just make sure that you check in with the app. Thank you very much for doing that, and thank you for entertaining me with that. So, 1 million cups. How many people do we have in here that this is your first time? First time is 1, 2. All right, we're not gonna make you go around and hug everybody in the room or nothing like that.
No.
Already did.
We just want to make sure.
Yes.
Well, I'll come and hug you, later
Oh, there you
on in the
go.
program.
Later.
But 1 Million Cups is a Kaufman Foundation organization. We're in over 160 locations throughout the United States. And what we do is we're a mastermind group for entrepreneurs. We help entrepreneurs with any issue, opportunity, or challenge that they may have. And we do that with 1 million cups of coffee at the same time on the same day in different locations. So the way that the program is set up is we're going to have a presenter come up to this location.
Up in here.
Come up in here. I'm like,
Up
it's a different audience. My audience was different last night. But
That's why you up so late.
yeah, I was up so late drinking coffee.
Yeah.
But we have a different presenter come every week, and they come and tell their story. And then they talk about whatever issue, opportunity, or challenge that they're having. And then after they tell their story, they offer up a challenge question. And that challenge question is what we try to help them with. This is not a Shark Tank. We're not trying to sharpshoot anyone. We're not trying to make anyone look bad. What we're trying to do is help them out with any issue, opportunity, or challenge that they're having and giving them some great feedback, some positive feedback, something that they can receive. Also, I know we have some experts in this room. Make sure that you keep your comments down to 30 seconds or less because we have a bunch of people in here who want to share their ideas as well. You have a piece of paper in front of you. What I'd like you to do with that piece of paper is put your name, your phone number, and your email address at the top. Because at the end, we're going to collect that, and that information is going to go to our presenter. And I know you all have great writing, but sometimes he may not be able to realize what you've written down on the paper. And so he's going to get back with you and clarify some of the stuff that you put on the paper. So if you can write that information down, that way it'll be able to help the entrepreneur out as best as possible. Remember, this is a safe place. We're supportive. We're respectful. If you're not respectful, I have my bouncer here, which is Jen Dalton. She will bounce you up out here.
I know.
Bounce, baby,
She
bounce.
can bounce. And so be respectful and considerate. I told you about this. You can, if you have a business and you're having a challenge, I don't know anybody that has a business that's perfect. We all have challenges. So if you haven't presented yet, go ahead and put your application in to present so we can help you out and we can learn about your business. If we know about your business, we can help your business grow, and that's what we're all about. So we couldn't do this without our sponsors. And our number one sponsor, we wouldn't have this space. Why you keep pointing it over here? Oh, I can't look at you.
But it's probably better looking at Sylvia.
Exactly. So we couldn't do this without Office Evolution. So Sylvia, can you come up and give us a few words about Office Evolution?
Hi, everyone. I'm Sylvia. I work with John at Office Evolution. And so I wanted to introduce Office Evolution for people who don't know. We are the perfect place for a small business. So if you need an office room or you just want to start with co-working or need a business address, come over to Office Evolution and ask me questions. Right now, we also have a promo going on. Buy 3 months of co-working and get 3 months of co-working free. This is really an awesome deal, especially in this area. And if you have any questions, come over and ask me. But honestly, this is amazing. And yeah, I love it so much. Honestly. All right, thank you.
All right.
Our coffee sponsor this month is Dan. He couldn't make it here today from Golden Rule Home Concierge. So basically, they watch your house when you're not there, and they make sure that everything is taken care of. So, are you going to talk about them?
Yeah.
Oh, that's even better. So we're going to have John Yu
Right.
from Home Concierge, Golden Rule.
So Dan couldn't be here because of a family emergency, but Dan is from Golden Rule. So we all fully caffeinated.
Fully
Wait. So the coffee sponsor for this month is Dan from Golden Rule. They're a home watch and concierge service. He asked me to read this to you. So do you know someone that worries about their home when it is unoccupied or when they go away? Golden Rule has developed an innovative approach that provides concerned homeowners with great peace of mind, keeps them updated in real time, and serves as their trusted eyes, ears, and feet on the street when they're not around. So I'm sure most of you, or many of you, have gone away and worried about, hey, what's happening with my house. So if you're like that, or if you know somebody like that, please reach out to Dan. He'll take care of you. Thank you, and enjoy the coffee.
For those of you that know Dan, him and John look exactly alike. So you guys, I know you couldn't tell the difference. My jokes are killing it this morning.
Yeah.
This is all right.
You didn't get much sleep, did you?
Just enough.
So I also want to bring up the organizers. So the organizers, can you come up to the front real quick? So I want to introduce the organizers. So
Jen Dalton, Brian Muir.
Donnell Johns of Vision Worldwide.
Tony Barnett, you're about to find out. John Yee, Office Evolution.
Russ McIntosh, Vision Idea Design.
Ash Mendes, Transformational Education Adventure Center.
Woo-woo, organizers.
We also have John Rutenberg from CCC Solutions, is one of our organizers, and I also want to recognize Dr. Bob, who is actually one of the founding organizers for 1 Million Cups. So thank you, Dr. Bob, for coming back. All right, you guys got to know us. Now we need to get to know you. We'll start over here. So please say your name, your business name, and that's it. That way we won't be here a half an hour listening to everybody in the crowd. Okay?
Hi, my name is Cook Lindsay. I design flower and I also provide greenery for office space. I'm here today to ask John if I can work with him.
She did it in front of everybody. That's what I'm talking about.
Golden rules.
Hi, everybody. I'm John. I'm with Fish and Explore. We fish and explore. And let's get some energy going in the room, for goodness sake. We're here to watch a presenter. We're going to help some people out. It's fun.
I couldn't hear you. What'd you say?
I'll talk to you later.
I'm Tamar Anderson. My company is Boss Actions. I'm a hiring strategist and boss best practices expert. I help business owners build, lead, and celebrate with their own kick-ass team.
No, that's false. That's false right there. False.
Dr. Connie Hambrock, Holistic Healing Center. We're an all-alternative wellness center.
Chris Tomseth, not a doctor.
Play one on TV.
But I'm with Backpacker Panda. We're building a global network of youth hostels.
Of what?
Youth hostels.
Hostels.
Not hostile use.
Yeah.
Russ McIntosh, Vision Idea Design. We're an all-inclusive graphic design firm in Fairfax City.
Mary Smith, business just getting going. Parent coach, woohoo. Thanks, Jen.
Hi, my name is Vadim. I'm a first impressions coach. I help businesses get the most out of their first impressions with headshots and business video.
Right, he makes you look good.
Good morning. I'm Cleveland Parker, Parker Corporate Group, management consulting, executive coaching, and marketing and sales strategies.
I'm at the tea center. We don't sell tea, but we do provide childcare. Sometimes we have tea parties.
I'm Alex Koval. I'm a personal trainer, and I'm hoping to start a child mentorship business.
My name is Justin Wilson. I'm with Paychecks, and I provide solutions for small businesses, AHR, all that kind of stuff.
Dr. Bob Johnson, Health Awareness Ventures. I work with individuals and companies to be more productive, improve their bottom line by being much healthier.
Stand up like everybody else. John Foster, I'm the ambassador for Greenfield Organic Cafe in Herndon, with 6 certified organic restaurants in the country.
Excuse me, Sean Price with Sterling Brook. We do customized wine openers, pocket knives, oyster shuckers, corporate branding, things like that. And we also, my wife and I are involved in real estate sales.
And who's the best presenter?
Yes, sure.
Hi, my name is Adrienne Perkins. I work for Allstate, recruiting small business owners for our Allstate agency opportunity.
Good morning, my name is Tom Scheid, along with Foster Real Estate Agent. I help people buy and sell homes. Being from Ohio, I love that name, man, Cleveland. Thank you.
You never said that about my name. I'm kind of hurt. I don't know.
Hi, I'm Alan Anderson. I help small businesses with their sales efforts. I actually do the selling rather than just advice on that.
Do you like my name?
It's fine.
Okay.
I love your name.
Yes, sir.
Donnell, we love it.
I love it.
You need a little.
It isn't Richmond or Cleveland.
I know. I'm going to name my name Texas, and maybe somebody will say, that's a big name.
Houston. We need to name it Houston.
Yes,
Can I
ma'am.
make an unsolicited comment?
No.
Actually, it's really not necessary, but it just occurred to me, and I'm going to share it, and I don't know what you want to do with it, but every single person, I think except John, including me probably, drops their voice at the end of their description, and I can't hear the last 3 words. And I don't know what that says about anything, but it's worth noting that I think almost everyone did it. I only
You were
asked one
just
person
saying
what he
if
said.
you were gonna notice.
What?
We were just saying if you were going to notice.
Yes, you didn't notice. It's worth noting, right? If you're talking to people and you lose those words, you don't.
There you go. There you go. So I need you guys to enunciate and put the pronunciation on the right emphasis.
The syllable.
Yeah.
Right.
You use the right syllables.
And it's because it's familiarity. We're all ending our sentence with something we've said 100 times, and we forget that people are hearing it for the first time.
So you guys are going to hear from me, right? My name is Donnell Johns. I make businesses and organizations better.
Woohoo!
Boom.
It wasn't a complaint, it was an observation.
She did phrase it as an observation.
Yes, you did.
Yes.
So without further ado, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Tony, one of our organizers presenting today from EndGoal, a business that he just started, but he's going to do amazing things for organization, and I can't wait to hear your challenge questions. So Tony, thank you for presenting today. We're looking forward to hearing all the great stuff from you.
So, we, the people of Rock Ridge. And if you knew the movie, you understand the reference. Yeah. So, thank you very much. Having been a organizer for this group since the very first one, I've been loving this group and appreciate this. And this is not my first time to the rodeo as far as presenting. But I do want to point out one thing. I want to thank Jen Dalton for an amazing job with a rather rudimentary slide deck that I sent to her last night at almost 10 o'clock. What you're about to see is spectacular, what she did in 5 minutes. So.
Wow.
So, the company that I've started is called EndGoal Resources. We are a search support and search support recruiting firm. If you don't know what that is, basically what we're doing is we're working to find certain talent for businesses that need it and provide it in a pathway. We identify for us high-level certified Agile experts. This is, in software development, and that is industry for government contractors, program managers. Agile is critical in a new methodology. You've probably heard of PMP. Agile is gradually taking over PMP. What we're offering is contract to perm positions for DevOps training, program management, and for enterprise transformation experts. Now, these are the roles that we have that are available, but we have others. This is just a sampling of what they are. There are software testers, there are proposal writers, proposal developers, anyone who works in an Agile process. What we have is the leadership positions that people need to move forward. Our background, last summer, the company that was one of my clients, EndGoal Group, was an Agile training company. What happened was they got acquired by a company in a building next door. And when that happened, the owner, the members of the company that didn't get picked up in the acquisition, we all had lunch and decided, yeah, let's start a company. So we started and formed a partnership with EndGoal Resources. We have a business manager who manages all the business back end. I do all the marketing, front end, face to face. And then we have another person whose expertise is in contracts and interviews and in vetting people, going through security checks and everything else. So between the three of us, we're able to identify people and talent that you need for leadership. Our approach. When the company sold, the old company gave us the access to their database of everyone they've ever trained. So as a result, we have a list of thousands of people that the old company had trained and certified in Agile. We match the talents of those people with the clients and their needs and their philosophy. So for instance, we're not going to just sit there and put a button in a seat like a lot of companies do. We're actually going to find the person that best fits the philosophy and the background of the company and the working methodology. So that way, this is a person who's coming in not as a temp staffer, but actually a future leader of the company. And what we do is we provide them key leadership roles within the Agile framework, so that way they can, as our first tagline we came up with was, so they could achieve their end goals. So who are our clients? Software development companies in both the federal and commercial area. We have, and because we are, worked on those clients in the past, we have our past performance with the USPTO, the Veterans Administration, and Capital One. So we have we provided training to those organizations, so that's part of our past performance. And we also, for additional options for what we do, we offer people on a monthly retainer. What we'll do is for search support. Our options are, what we're looking for is to be paid a monthly retainer to provide a stream of candidates to each company for vetting, review, and options for hiring. We also offer commissions for staffing referral partners. So if you own or work for a staffing company and need Agile people, you can come to us and we'll work out a very reasonable, actually lucrative, generous referral bonus or referral commission for any existing staffing companies that need our people to be moved into the roles that they have open. Why are we unique? Biggest thing, we have thousands of people that we have access to. The contact information is good. Most of these people are already working, so it's not like they're out actively looking. And what we do is we find the fit between their personality and their skill set with a client that's looking for someone. We can reach out to them and say, would you be interested in talking to these people and making a change? That's something that a lot of staffing firms don't have. Recruiters are always looking at all the job boards, looking at resumes, looking at people who are looking. We have the inside track into people who are already in place, who aren't necessarily looking, but have a leadership role. Like I said, we match the talents of the candidates to the client's needs and philosophies. That's another thing. We're not just sitting there and sending them resumes and sending them resumes and sending them resumes. If we're more of like a headhunter service when a corporation is looking for a new CEO, we are adopting that approach. We're going to interview and find out who's going to be a good leader for this company. We're going to find out where their skills and their mindset fits, and we'll go ahead and start, the process of doing introductions and interviewing for them. And again, I said the idea is that it's key leadership within. We have the leadership, and we have a passion for expanding the income and experience of the company. Because the goal, as our name is suggesting, we want that company to achieve its end goals through agile leadership that we provide. So, our challenge question. Many companies refuse to work with an outside recruiter. If you haven't been in the industry before, you wouldn't know this, but quite honestly, every major company has HR teams and recruiting teams that are out there, and under very rare circumstances will they work with a third-party recruiter. When we formed the company, we believe that for our skills and what we're offering to provide, that yes, we would be a logical choice for them to find leadership roles in agile software. What's happening is that HR managers are just working with contact providers. So our challenge, my challenge question today is this to you. What is the best marketing approach to adopt that will land us our first client? Because we have everything but the first client. Now, because our people already are working, no one's in a panic for us to find them a job. But we've talked to about 15 to 20 of the top list who all said, yes, find me something new, find me something better, happy to go make a change. So we have those people in the pipeline ready to go. So that's it. What approach do I have to use, or we have to use to get that first company to commit?
Right. So as we said before, we have the index cards in front. Please put your comments, suggestions, any ideas you have for Tony on that card. We can collect it at the end of the session, and he'll be able to review that. So with that, who has questions for Tony? Alan.
Well, this is actually kind of more of a question. Why, if somebody is an HR manager, is it easy to find agile user or programmers, or I'm guessing it's not, particularly people who already have a job. So why wouldn't they want to talk to you about potential clients that you can, or prospects that you can offer them?
From what we've learned in just a very short time is that there are multiple, most companies resist working with an outside recruiter unless the CEO or someone in the C-level suite is actually trying to fill a leadership position or a specific position. Otherwise, they're just passing it off to either in-house recruiters or into the HR department. The HR department posts up a job on Monster or on Indeed or ZipRecruiter or whatever with the requirements, and what they do then is they filter through and review the resumes that come in. Now, the challenge is that with those is a lot of times the people who have already been trained in Agile, usually were trained in Agile by the company. Colleges don't right now offer an Agile training or Agile certification program. That's why companies that are independent out there do this for other companies, and a lot of companies already have Agile coaching staff to train their internal staff in the Agile process. Okay, so as a result, them sitting there and actually interested in hiring or working with a third party doesn't necessarily jive with what their normal process is. Now, if they're looking for a C-level executive, yes, they'll go to a headhunter firm because they just don't post, a senior vice president on, ZipRecruiter. At least I haven't seen that.
Ladders.
There you go. Yeah.
So, my question is like three questions.
Okay.
One, and I'll ask them all, and then you can answer them however you choose. What's your current approach? What geography is your database concentrated in, or is it national?
We're national.
And then the third one is, you said your HR managers. What about talent acquisition managers? Because there's a difference. So,
I have, and for those of you who know me, I'm super uber networked. I own several tremendously large networking groups in the DC area. When we first formed the company, I reached out and sent messages to probably about the top 70 or 80 of them. and the people I knew in those businesses. To say I was ghosted during the holidays would be an understatement. Okay. It's like at one point I even joked, I think the email isn't working right now because not a single person is responding. Okay. Lots of voicemails. Conversations I'd have were wonderful. They're like, oh, congratulations. This is great. Awesome. And it's like, good. Can we work together? Oh, well, sorry. We don't work with third-party recruiters. Or my best one, and I won't say who it was, but one person actually said right on the phone to me, Tony, I think you're great, but honestly, you guys are like used car salesmen, and I don't have the time for you. And I was just like, okay. So as far as, heading that, I'm reaching out in those ways. I'm just either not messaging it right, not socializing it right, which I think is part of it, is that we're trying to find who's the right person to reach the pain point. They're looking for agile people. You go on Indeed, you go to ZipRecruiter, you go to Monster, and you just type in agile, and you put in the zip code for just Titans alone. There are 400 or 500 agile positions at any given time. And a lot of them have been open for more than 6 to 8 months.
Wow.
So why are you like a user? Sorry.
Because a lot of these companies feel that because a recruiter or a contract to perm placer is taking 25 to 30% of what the person's making, they'd rather bypass that. They'd rather sit there and pay the person, instead of paying the person $180,000 for the role, they'd rather go ahead and pay them $120,000 or $130,000 and cut us out completely, cut out the recruiter. And that's why one of the things I've had on several occasions where I've had someone who's like, oh yeah, send us what you got, and we have cover sheets. We'll send them a couple of 2 or 3 cover sheets, and they're like, great, these are awesome. Send over the resumes. Well, let's work out if you want them. Yeah. Oh no, we're not going to work with you, but we'll hire them for you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right, Rosemary is next.
Hey, Tony. Great idea. So I have 2 suggestions. One is, have you contemplated going to either the GSA schedule or working as a sub to a prime? Personally, I have gotten calls from recruiting entities that are reaching out for government agencies looking for people with agile skills. They are required to go to the schedule. Hence, if you were on the schedule, you can pick up some task orders that way. It's not a short-term approach, but you can probably qualify under some of the set-asides given the size you are right now.
GSA schedule, well, we're already registered as a government contractor. We have our cage code and our DUNS number and that stuff. We have already applied as a vendor partner with Leidos, Northrop Grumman, with MITRE, and with Peraton and Perspective, because I have contacts in all of those companies, and we've already started, but the vetting process takes time because from the contractor side for a partnership, they want to, they already have established contracts, so they want to sit there and get people in on upcoming stuff, which hasn't happened yet.
Okay, so the other suggestion is go upstream to the certification entities and see if they will work with you to place their certified graduates.
Bill's already working on that. Bill's are, the trick is, again, what we're heading is that they'd rather hire him direct, not use us. That's one of the reasons why we're offering the search support, which is, pay us just a little fee each month. We'll send you dozens of people. Wherever position you need, we've got the resources. We'll send them to you, and they're so far resistant to that, because we're just not hitting the message right.
So,
actually,
he's in charge.
Mayosh is next.
It's my fault. I'm used to moderating. I'm sorry.
So if those companies that already have HR people are saying they don't want to work with you, have you thought about going to like a smaller company that don't have the HR and starting a little bit small and building up?
Yes. And again, it's a resistance issue because they know there's a markup. They'd rather get them cheaper unless they absolutely desperately have to have it fulfilled, which is what we're finding.
Jen.
2 thoughts / questions. One is, for all of the companies that use the last company as a training organization, have you emailed all of them with the exciting news that all of that insight, information, and part of that team has launched a staffing company. So they know there's some credibility. And I forgot the second one. I'll write it down.
The answer to your question is yes. One of the very first things we did was reach out to Capital One. And Capital One has a different process for trainers than they do for staffing companies. And you have to basically, it's almost worse than a government contractor. We're right now talking with a company to partner with them so that we can have them bring us in as a vendor partner into Capital One, because they do an annual vendor onboarding process. And what you have to do is register with them, then they vet you, and then what they do is they issue out an RFP that they send you that you respond to for when they need something in that area. And there are a lot of larger companies that do that as well. Walmart does that very same thing. And Southwest Airlines, which is another former client, does that exact same thing as well. So they have a different process, so recruiters get treated differently.
John? Donnell.
I answered either one. So I think you should change your approach, because right now you're in the discovery phase. And for an organization to hire you, you have to really hone in on what their needs are and how they go about getting their needs. And I know that you've done that research already, but you have to come with them with the approach of, hey, we have this great idea that we want to launch this business. Even though you already launched the business, how do we, those same people that you reached out to, ask them if you could sit down with them and go over what you have and how to approach different organizations. And they'll tell you how to sell them, right? And the way to get into the door. You may not be able to do business with them, but birds of a feather flock together. And so they can make introductions to organizations that may need your support.
And this is the learning process that I'm going through, as formerly being in cybersecurity and IT sales for over almost 2 decades. This is now a new approach where the decision makers aren't the same decision makers and their process is different.
Right, and so that's one of the questions that you have to ask is, who are the decision makers, and what problems are they having, and how do I go about making this sound sexy to them so they'll buy our service, and what services will they buy, you know? And so ask those questions, and then you also need to find out where they hang out. So do they go to the SHRM? And build those relationships with those HR managers to see if and when they have those type of issues, and be like, hey, I would love to sit down with you and have coffee and talk about, you know, some of the things that we have, and maybe we can align our efforts.
You're having coffee now, John.
Hi, Johnny. So a couple of things based on what people have been saying. I'm sort of adding to or looking at that. First, you were talking about perception, you know, and you've got this perception of being in a used car sales environment. So you've got to figure out how to change that. You know, I mean, literally, you know, I mean, I know that's not, I know you know that, but I mean, I think part of the way that you can look at that is like, what's your value add? When I say your value add, if they're saying, oh, we're going to go to internal HR for our hires, a lot of what their reasoning behind that is because it's like, wow, we don't want to pay Pat at 25%. The question is, if it's taking them 6 months to hire somebody and you can put somebody in place in 2 weeks, that's 6 months of whatever their internal team is doing, spending time interviewing particular individuals before they actually place somebody, and that's 5.5 months of non-productivity because that position's not filled.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I mean, the thing is that you need to figure out how to communicate that to the C level, because they'll push it down.
Yes.
You know,
No,
I mean,
exactly.
your CFOs and your or COO or CEO, that matters to them. To the HR people, they've got their internal budget, and they're paying Susie, Paul, and Stevie whether or not they you work with them or not. So they don't necessarily.
And that's again part of the feistiness of the industry is the fact that those people are constantly trying to poach. I don't want to go into a long dissertation, but yes, it happens where these recruiters will find out, or these internal HR people will find out that you're bringing someone, and once they get a hold of that resume, what they'll do is they'll bypass the recruiter, go directly to the candidate, and sit there and say, yeah, I know you're working with them, but just go ahead and come in for an interview with us. We'll hire you directly, and we'll give you a 10% increase. And that happens all the time.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if,
Honor among thieves.
maybe if there's something in, constructing an email that when you send it, that there is a, like a disclaimer or something in the email that if any of the said individuals, but then you get into a different type of business.
When someone wants to work with us, we already have a contract established, and we'll sit there and say, here's the contract for what, whether it's going to be support services or it's going to be the contract for placement.
Okay.
There are guidelines in that contract, and we'll give them to them. Their attorneys can review it and make modifications that they want. But basically, it says for the first year, they're untouchable. In other words, they're our employee for the first year, and then after that first year, if they want to do perm placement, that's fine.
Right.
We're not going to be greedy in that regard.
Right.
We're replacing for 1 year. After 1 year, you want to bring them on full time and keep them forever.
One other thing, maybe you go to one of your really, really close friends that's in the C-suite and say, look, I need to get a first client off. Can we do this at 5%? Just to get the client and get the name. Because then you've got reference and say, and if I do this for you, I need you to be a reference.
Yeah, and I've done that as well. And what they usually do is they put me off to the next person down the line or into HR, and it just
before you let them, if they're going to say yes and they push you down to somebody, get them to sign a contract right now. Sorry, just be a little more assertive with them.
All right.
Thank you. One is a recommendation, and I have another compound question. So stop talking to HR people.
Oh yeah, no,
talk to talent acquisition people.
Okay,
that's number one. And here's the reason why. For however long, this builds on what I think his name is John just said. For every vacant position, particularly for government contractors or cost plus contracts, every day that position is vacant, they're losing revenue, right?
Yep.
You need to help them calculate their lost revenue.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable how much money they lose on an annual basis because the seat is empty. You can stop the outflow of revenue, right? That's one thing. And then how do you describe your company again? What do you?
We are the tagline on the website is that we have epic solutions for agile staffing challenges. Okay, but what we effectively are and what we do is we provide certified, trained, agile experts to fill your leadership roles in software development.
Okay. Stop talking. Get yourself out of that bucket with the used car salesmen, the staffers. You acquire talent is what you do.
Yes.
And a specific type of talent that drives high levels of revenue and profits for companies. Speak their language. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
No, thank you.
Oh, so for her first, go for it.
Yeah, mine's very quick though, but before I start, I just wonder, is your pricing right?
Yes, our pricing is actually very reasonable.
Very industry.
Considering the industry, yes, we have a very reasonable market. And one of the things that we debated was our commission. So when someone refers us, our commission is ridiculous, and the companies who are also in the same staffing area that we've talked to, when I tell them what the commission is, like, what? Okay, and it's like, but they still, they say, okay, fine, if we have some of these, what you have, we'll certainly refer them over. But in 2 months, that hasn't happened. I know that for one particular company, that company they're working with has plenty of agile. I just don't think they're doing that.
Okay, Tony. So I'm hearing some themes in the room, which I'll try to distill and add to. I've been in a role before where I had, it's not developers, but worldwide salespeople, and there's a lot of analogous things. But I think essentially there's not right and wrong approaches. You've got to do all three. So I'll kind of sum that up as bottom, top, and side. So from the HR talent development perspective, I think there's a brute force angle. You still need to be contacting those people to be on the radar. It's a low hit rate, but you got to be doing that. 2, leverage your relationships on the top, like as Donnell was saying. So, I mean, as I've learned in fundraising, if you want money, ask for advice. If you want advice, ask for money. And it's true, but it works in your industry.
I like that.
It works in your industry too. So if you go to these people that did respond to your email and say, that's great, congratulations, but then when you asked to work with them, they said no, approach it differently. Say, hey, I mean, kind of what Donnell was getting at. Go say, can I get your advice? They'll be a lot more open to talking to you. That's the top-down approach.
Okay.
And then 3 from the side. So it's not all about top and bottom. These developers work for someone, and you don't have to go to the senior vice president. Get somebody who's got a title, director of product development or someone like that. Find them on LinkedIn. Come to that person, because that's the person who's really feeling the pain that their team cannot be staffed up. If you can get to that person, they're going to put the pressure on HR and say, hey, my team is, down X number of people. I need to get this moving. That's worked for me before when I was running global sales, and some of my direct reports came to me and said, Chris, we can't hire these people and HR won't hire a recruiter. What do you think? So basically you get the person who's actually feeling the most pain, and that's the person who those positions report to.
Rosemary.
So I'm just going to amplify what John said, what Chris said, the gentleman over here said.
Cleveland.
Texas.
Awesome. The people who are feeling the most pain are either going to be the CIO or the CMO, because that's where product and that's where engineering live. The minute you get into HR, it's going to
Blow up.
no, it's going to go nowhere.
Yeah.
It's just going to sit
Well,
there.
that's fine. Blow up, just
Exactly.
poof in your face.
So to get back to your question, what's the best marketing approach? Take John's approach, which is the messaging is, and I'm sure you can find it out there, on average it takes 6 months, I'm making the numbers up, right, to get a qualified, agile certified trainer or scrum master, whatever you want to call it, right? In that 6 months, most companies lose X percentage of their goal-setting capability because their product and engineering teams are not working effectively together. Then you make your ROI statement. And then you message that to CMO, CIO, CEO, because they're the ones that are going to make the buying decision, as opposed to the HR people who are sitting on that process for months and months and months. So you need to find that just assured where we bring X benefit because it's taking you Y number of months to fill these roles to add to your tagline, not in your top line, but in the body of your messaging. And all of a sudden, people will do the math in their head to make the buying decision. So to the best marketing approach, it's taking what you've heard here, putting a little bit of quant on it, and then directing it. And you can do this through LinkedIn ads, Facebook ads.
Okay.
There's several groups on LinkedIn that you can launch
Myosa.
So I'm kind of amplifying what John and Cleveland said. Like people who make decisions, they're more like into numbers and they don't have a lot of time. So you want to also stand out from your competition. You can just show like, okay, a vacant position, this ABC positions, it's been vacant, you're losing this much money. This much is how much I can save. And one thing, like even I'm not in your field, but one thing I really have an issue is I've talked to several staffing companies myself, is like when you bring somebody on board, is that going to work out? And you should be able to replace that person if that person doesn't work out. So you should give them that guarantee, hey, you know what, you have 6 months, these are the advantages, ABC, put them on a list and say, we can replace if this one doesn't work out. And after 1 year, this person is yours. You can take that extra amount of money you're giving to me and invest on that person can grow your company. Because that's what people are looking when they're making the decisions. How much are they saving? How much profit is it going to make? So you kind of want to show it out there right away and say, and take your competition. If they are charging 30%, maybe at front you should charge 20% instead of 30 and get a reference.
Right now, it's the financial side hasn't been the hit. The hit has been working with us, even though we have the past performance in the background. It's getting that company to commit to using us. we haven't even got to the point with anyone that we're actually talking money. In other words, the companies that we have talked to, they've said, oh, send us your resumes. And we're like,
No.
That's not how it works.
Yeah.
So Tony, thanks again for sharing. I love hearing about new businesses and development. This is like my favorite place to be, is strategizing and stuff. So with regard to the marketing approach, coming from the hiring background myself, I totally get your pain point. So if I can, I loved Cleveland's feedback about staffing. That undervalue, if you're really trying to place leaders, you can't use the word staffing. You have to be consistent with it. If you're going to be going to CEOs and CIOs or whoever is going to be the pain point people, they don't want to talk about staffing. That's a thing that makes them glaze over.
Yeah.
But they do want talent acquisition. They might even talk about headhunters or recruiting, but staffing suggests to them an administrative level that I think is confusing them.
Yes, I agree.
So
I'm realizing that
yeah,
in this discussion now.
yeah. So that's a great thing that take away from this. Also, I really love the idea of building the value. When it comes to marketing, one of my best ideas that comes listening to what you say is you start asking for, I want to be introduced to the person that can't find the best agile person. I want to talk to that problem because I've got the solution. I literally want to know who's having a hard time hiring. Who do you know that's having a hard time hiring an agile person? I would love an introduction to that person. Don't qualify it by title or anyone. You just want someone to hear, who was just complaining? Who was that? I can introduce you to this person and start capturing what those titles are, right? Who is experiencing that pain? So if you just start positioning yourself as, I'm the solution to people that have a problem finding good agile people, I think that would really help with your marketing messaging. And then the other thing is I'd love to see a little more clarity around your uniqueness. So while you have a pool of ready to go people, and I think that's huge, like ready to match is something that came to my mind. We're ready to match. Today, we've got the people.
Exactly.
We're going to get to know you. But what is it that you do differently that is going to make sure that you're pulling from a pool that is about me, not you finding a pool to make them fit into my square peg? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I would love to see a little more
Yes.
clarity on the uniqueness of what your process is.
Thank you. Part of the reason why I was like yesterday going, yes, I can do this.
Yeah.
So now we have time for one last question.
So before the last question, I just want to say I commend you for jumping and making this, adding this value, because I know the tremendous value that you bring to any organization or anything that you do, and the level of homework that you do as far as getting out there. So congratulations on jumping. But you already know what my last question is what can the 1 Million Cups community do for you?
The 1 Million Cups community can continue feedback, continue suggestions, continue to offer advice when they see something being done wrong. This isn't the first time I've had to answer this question. I've had a lot of time listening to people over the years. What would be the right answer? And could continue to be a conduit and resource to what we need is the best thing that the community can do for us. Not just walk away and say that was a great day, but when you, as Omar said, there's someone who I just knew someone who asked about Agile, and remember that and say, oh, Tony, yes, I can remember Tony. Continuing the advice, continuing the spirit of what we're doing here today, ongoing, that's what the community can do.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
I'd like to present you with 1 Million Cups Cup. Cool. Thank you for your presentation. You did a wonderful job.
Thank you. 1 more years with each one of each year, and I'll have a set.
No, so that was great. Thank you, Tony, for sharing your baby with us. And we're going to do everything that we can to make sure that every time we hear somebody say Agile, we're going to say Tony. So thank you very much. We have a bunch of presenters coming up. In fact, we're all the way out till March. But that's still not good enough for us. We want, if your name or your business isn't up here, or if you haven't presented, please put in your application. You saw the level of support that Tony got today, And so we want to give you that level of support. So put your information in there, and definitely come out and support. We also need you here in the capacity of audience members. So come as often as possible to support, the people that are sitting here in the room.
Oh, by the way,
Yes.
Off We Go has taken the slot for the 19th.
Yes.
Perfect.
Oh, great.
Perfect. So we actually have.
Company that was supposed to be here today will be on the 19th.
Gotcha. Sounds great. So everybody likes to enjoy themselves, and so we're gonna have a 2-year anniversary. So this is awesome. Our 2nd year I don't want to call it in business, in family with each other. And so thank you guys, and this is our way of thanking you for supporting the 1 Million Cups community. So on February 13th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. we're going to be at Chima's. If you want to be a happy hour sponsor, we're looking for some happy hour sponsors. If you want to be a happy hour sponsor, see myself, Jen, or Tony. We can help you out with that. But
Sponsorship is easy because what we're doing is if we have 2 sponsors, we split the tab for the food between the 2 sponsors because of our agreement with Kauffman Foundation. If we have 5 sponsors, this tab gets split 5 ways and you get counted as a sponsor. That's how easy it is.
And what do they get for that sponsorship, Tony?
Oh, they'll get time to speak to everybody in the room. They'll get the chance to put out their materials in the room. And of course, they'll be there with as many people as they want to bring from their company to share and to coordinate, or I should say, network with everybody in the room, connect with everybody in the room.
So sometimes we have as many as 80 people there and as few as 50. So that is a ripe crowd to be able to position your business in front of. So we would love to see you there. Put this on your calendars, open up your phone, open up the calendar app, and put this date in there.
Or they can just go ahead and register
Oh, yes.
on Eventbrite.
Thank you, Vanna.
And then they'll get the calendar thing they can put right on their calendar.
And so go to Eventbrite, follow us 1 Million Cups Fairfax or 1MC Fairfax on Eventbrite and register now, and that way we won't have try to find you later. So I have my bouncer come and find you, right, Jen?
Mm-hmm.
All right. That is. Does anyone have any presentations or an events that they want to talk about?
So if you guys aren't doing anything Friday at lunchtime, please register for my webinar, Help You Get a Start on 2020 by Improving Your Collaborations. Let me know if you're interested. I'll send you the link, or you can look up Gravitate, Better Teams, Eventbrite, something like that. You'll find us. Free webinar, comfort of your own home, no video.
So Gravitate is one of our sponsors. They sponsor the way that we communicate on the back end. If it wasn't for Gravitate, we would be crazy trying to get in touch with each other and support our team. So any other? Where's Russ at? I know Russ has like 700.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to you in a second. All right.
Oh, there you go.
Are you willing to sponsor those?
Why not?
Okay.
There you go.
I just want to bring up next Thursday at 10 o'clock, Gary Sinise Rice Foundation is having a dedication ceremony for U.S. Army Major Jeremy Hayes. It's going to be his forever home, and we love the support of the community to come out and help with the dedication. It's at GarySiniseFoundation.org.
What date?
Thursday at 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. Next Thursday the 30th.
Anyone else with any events? Anyone else with any events?
That's it at the moment.
Okay, March 14th, I have a flyer here for my event. We're doing a veteran business pop-up shop. We're going to have 40 veteran-owned businesses in this location. This is actually my event, but we're showcasing 40 veteran businesses. Please go on Eventbrite and register. If you look up veteran business pop-up shop in Eventbrite, register to come as an attendee. If you know of any veterans that served in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, National Guard, they served for a couple of years, and they have a business, they can be a vendor at this event. We're also looking for sponsors. So if you want to sponsor this event and showcase your business in front of these 40 veteran business entrepreneurs. We have some sponsorship spaces available at this event. It's a great event, if I do say so myself.
Where's it located?
It is located in Woodbridge at the DC. What? The traffic is never going that way.
But that's true. I just haven't had good dealings in Woodbridge. It's
on
okay.
Saturday.
Dale
When it's,
City.
when it's with me, it's always good.
All right.
I got you.
All right.
So Dale City Volunteer Fire Department at their banquet hall. It's a nice big open space, and it's amazing.
What's the date again?
The date is March 14th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Please register on Eventbrite to come. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. But if you have some vendors, the vendor space does cost.
Can't find it on Eventbrite.
You can. So look up Veteran Business Pop-Up. You should be
Also
able.
that one.
Oh, this
Veteran
one.
business, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
neither one of those is popping up.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
That one's live, I don't know what to tell you. If you get our
Well,
Facebook page,
if it doesn't pop up, there's a QR code. Just open, if you have an iPhone, just open it up to the picture app and it'll take you to the Eventbrite page. Any other events?
I have an advanced LinkedIn for business development next Tuesday morning from 9 to 11. We're going to be focusing on blogging, sponsored ads, and figuring out how to put your funnel for content.
So let me just be a cheerleader for Jen real quick. I went to her LinkedIn class, and now if you guys see me on LinkedIn, I use all the tips and tricks that Jen showed me to be in front of individuals.
Be a boss.
Yes, to be a boss.
That's what I'm looking for.
So,
And this is
I,
even advanced.
so this is the
We're all
advancement.
saying yeah.
Yes.
So how do we get to it?
I'll have a little bit break shortly. But it's here right across the hall now.
Yeah, it's excellent. And she shows some great tips. So,
Question
Nine
for
to-
Jen.
9 to 11. Tuesday morning.
Jen.
Jen, yeah.
This is an advanced class, you said? So when is the next beginners?
I do beginners every month, so I'll email you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I would say even if you're a beginner, you want this advanced class. Jen teaches it at a level to where you're able to understand it. She doesn't speak to she doesn't speak down to those beginners. She lifts you up. But it's a great course. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you for your support, and we'll see you here the same time next week. Oh, yes, thank you. If you could take your 5x7 cards or 3x5 cards or whatever size that you have and pass those to the
Side.
side, and we'll pick them up from there. Thank you very much.